Hey everybody, this is Steve Ninja. I've got Steve Herold with me tonight. The two Steves. We're
Yep.
big music fans, big
Brother.
movie fans too. And tonight we're gonna rank. Well, not really rank. We're gonna talk about our 10 favorite police songs from the Police. Not in order. They're not really ranked necessarily. But I do have a number one, my favorite from the Police. But everything else is pretty much scattered out. So yeah, well,
Right.
me and Steve were talking before we went live here, and so it'll be a lot of fun here. But we're just gonna.
So
I'll have
let's
Steve.
to kick things off. How did you? What was your introduction to the police? How did you get into them? Do you remember?
So Synchronicity was my first.
Yeah.
I think maybe I may have seen some of the videos before that, some videos here or there, but really Synchronicity is the one where I bought like a single from. I'm not going to mention this. I'll mention
All right. All right.
when I talk about the honorable mentions. Some of the singles
Yeah.
that didn't make my list here, but I definitely want to point out
Did
because I
you go see them on the reunion tour?
no, I've never seen them live.
Oh yeah,
No,
I went to the reunion tour. It was pretty good. It
dude,
was
I
it
wonder
was good.
how big was their sound. I mean, they've always been kind of like a club band to me, and not really as
Oh
much
yeah.
a
Really? I mean, because they were playing stadiums when they called it a day.
right.
And they were
'Cause
playing
I've got like a live album from that live album.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
have it. I have that live record. It's half got it's got an early show from 1979, and then the first disc is 1979. The second disc is Synchronicity
right.
tour.
Yeah, so I
So,
got that
which
one.
is kind of a cool way to do a live record. You kind of see them like at the beginning of their career and then at the end. But I don't remember. Like, are you talking about like what their sound system looked like how many amps they
Yeah,
had on stage?
how
I don't
loud. I mean,
remember
they're not
that.
really a loud band necessarily. They're
Yeah,
not
I
like
mean, it was at the
heavy.
Garden. I mean, it was at Madison Square Garden, so, I
Really?
mean, but, I mean, it was just good because it seemed like they were enjoying being on stage with each other. I mean, they've been so, like, they're I mean, they fight all the time, but the way those guys have always, like, fought with each other was always reminded me of, like, how brothers fight,
Brothers, yeah.
you know what I mean? It
Especially Stuart
wasn't.
Copeland and Sting.
Oh,
They
yeah,
got
yeah.
into
I mean, there's
but
so many videos you could see of them just, like, in the interviews.
yeah,
Like, there's a famous
throwing
one
stuff at
where
each
he
other.
throws the
Yeah.
water on them and shit.
Yeah. So,
But,
I mean,
yeah.
I think the big reason why the Police were popular in the US is it's kinda like I kinda equate it to like Monty Python with Terry Gilliam being an American and that group of British, actors, and I think the Police are kind of similar. You got two British guys, and you got Stuart Copeland's from North Carolina. He's kind of that. I think he was living in
He was
England
like
at
an
the
army
time.
brat. His dad was, like,
Yeah,
in the CIA or something.
yeah, but I think
But he
that's
was
kind of a link to
both.
people. They say, oh, there's an American in this group. Oh, I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think the Police kinda sorta rode in on the coattails of punk, even though
Hmm.
they weren't a punk band.
Right,
And then new wave happened. So, like, a lot of punk bands didn't really fit in with new wave when the '80s hit, but the Police kinda easily made that transition, you know what I mean? And I mean, Sting's I mean, he was a great songwriter. I mean, these songs are just I mean, he wrote pretty much all of it. And I mean, it's hard to deny how good these songs are. I mean, I don't know about his later career. But I
he had a
mean,
lot of
these
hits
these
as a solo
yeah,
artist.
all these albums, are just like almost like wall to wall, just solid, every one of them, all 5 of those records,
Yeah,
but
I don't think
I
I
mean,
melded in all of
I think I got into them around Synchronicity too, although I wasn't like oh no, I guess I got in. I mean, I was aware of them. I already knew them. I had an older brother, so I know he had probably 1 or 2 of their albums before Synchronicity. So I definitely was aware of them and knew some of those songs. But Synchronicity, I think I remember getting it on vinyl, and then like maybe a couple years after that, I remember when I started driving, and then I wanted cassettes. I remember trading a friend like, "Here, you can have my vinyl. I have your cassette of Synchronicity." And then I think
them.
I remember getting like all the Police albums. Like went back and picked up all their albums. Um, but yeah, and then when this came out in like '86, I remember picking that up, and I remember like I had all the records. I remember a friend asking me like, because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the record store tomorrow. That new Police, the greatest hits is coming out." And they were like, "Well, do you have all the Police albums?" I was like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Well, then why are you gonna buy that? Like, you already have all the songs." And I really didn't have an answer for that, man. It was a good
Oh,
question, and it was like, I mean, I don't I now, people are, I'm a completist and all this stuff. Like I know you are with some of your movies, but I don't. It wasn't even really that. I mean, I don't know why. I just was like, oh, I want to go out and pick. I was really into the Police at that time when this came out, and just it's coming out. I'm gonna buy it. But
yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I ever owned, that hits
that's
collection,
the
and
greatest hits thing. Singles.
then I got
Yeah,
the other one too, the one that's got the white, like the white
yeah,
cover.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's got like, I think it has like the "Don't Stand So Close to Me," the
Yeah, they
'86, and
put the
then it has,
the regular version on there
yeah, it
because
had
it
like
was
two
the regular
different.
version wasn't on this at all.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well,
No, it just had the new version of that.
so
I
once it,
remember when that new version came out. We were talking a little bit about this before, but I mean, I remember buying that single, and it's just one of those things. Like you're almost blind. Like now, I hear that, and I'm like, yeah, it's not very good. But at the time, it was just like, oh, it's a new Police song. Like I said, I was really into them, and it just was like, you're kind of just like, you just, you know, you like I said, you almost like put blinders on. You don't want to admit like maybe it's not that good. You know what I mean and stuff because you're like really into that band.
well, I got rid of like the hits collections when I finally bought all the CDs, the
Oh
five
yeah,
albums, like
yeah.
because I think I
Oh, you
had.
did you buy like a box set of all the
No,
albums?
I just bought them individually, the
Oh, okay, all
remastered
right.
versions.
Because they
Um,
put out. I used to have. I don't have it anymore. I used to have the Message in a Box, the first box that they put out, and had some like extra stuff on there. I had that, and I got rid of it. I kind of wish maybe I'd kept it, but I know they've put out since they've put those out like as box sets of like all the albums, remastered and all that stuff. But yeah, I just have the original things. I have them all on CD and all of them on vinyl as well.
yeah.
I even have this one on vinyl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the debut album, is it Outlandis, D'Amour, or is that how you pronounce it? Or
Atlantis d'Amour. I don't know.
D'Amour? Okay, yeah,
Probably.
D'Amour. Yeah, I think you've told me that before.
Did I?
But I think one time I bought like that, bought it used at the exchange,
Right.
and you barely hear it. I don't know if it was just a bad copy, but
Oh,
I went back and told the guy that this sounds terrible, and they had like another version, like remastered version,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he let me swap it out, and it sounded so much better. So
Yeah, I know
it's
I don't know what year it was. I remember when they remastered, reissued the original albums, and they were all in digipacks. They weren't in the jewel cases. And yeah, I didn't pick those up. It just seemed like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I haven't listened to any of these like straight off of the CD in a while, so I don't know. But it didn't seem like something I needed to pick up, like remastered ones or anything like that.
right. Yeah, the ones I have are all digipack, and they all sound really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
They
yeah.
sound
They
really
also
good.
put them out on like I think at that same time they put them out on like SA CDs as
Yeah.
well at the same time. But yeah, so yeah,
So
great band, great
yeah,
band.
so you got like you have Sting, you have Stuart Copeland, then you have Andy Summers. He's like 82 years old now. He's always like
Yeah,
the older guy.
yeah.
Uh, they were kind of like kind of kept him young, sort of, because he's kind of like a big kid, and he was a
I mean,
lot
I
older
never knew
than.
that like when I was growing up and was a
Yeah,
fan of the band. Like I don't know when I found out like, oh, he's much older and he'd been around. He was in some like I don't know what band he was in. He was in some band before that was popular, but I can't remember. It was one of those bands where you're like, "Oh, really? He played in that
yeah,
band?" Like, I don't
yeah,
know, Spencer Davis Group or I don't know, whatever. I don't know whatever it was. He was in some like he was established before he joined them.
yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
can't remember
I'm
what
going
it
to
was.
mention like all of them as musicians here as we go along, but I
Oh,
think that what was it? Stuart Copeland's brother was their manager for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Now he's passed away now, but
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
I believe
So
so. Yeah,
he the one who ran IRS? He ran
yeah,
IRS Records, right?
right.
Miles Copeland. Oh, I
Miles
didn't know.
Copeland. Yeah,
I didn't know he died. Oh,
I'd have to look it up. I thought he did.
I don't know, but
May not be dead yet. I'm not dead yet. Like the
yeah,
Monty
yeah.
Python.
He's gonna comment on your video. What are you
Yeah,
talking about, man? I'm
he's not
still
dead.
alive. I'm still
Oh,
alive.
really? Well, I thought he had.
Yeah.
I thought he was
I
a
don't know. I mean, you might be
roller.
right. I just don't. I don't know.
I'm looking it
Um,
up right now because I thought he had passed. Maybe he hasn't though.
he had 2 brothers. There was Ian Copeland as well. Maybe he died. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Miles Copeland is still alive. Yeah, so yeah, Ian Copeland's still
there
alive
goes
too,
all
I
your
guess.
oh, yeah, there goes all your
Well, there you
credibility.
go. Don't tell him I said that.
I mean,
I'll have the
Miles
wife.
Copeland, I mean, he ran IRS. I mean, he's responsible for the Go-Go's and all these bands. So I feel like,
Oh,
the day when he does pass away, I mean, I think a lot of people maybe don't know his name, but I mean, I feel like it will warrant coverage, like I think
yeah,
you will hear about it because, he had a pretty big impact on music, especially
yeah.
there in the 80s.
Actually, Ian Copeland died in 2006, so he was
Okay.
57.
There you
So
All right.
yeah, I knew one of them died. I thought it was Miles, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
All right.
I guess I'm happy and sad.
think
Sad I
Ian
was
I
right.
think Ian I think Ian ran like a concert. I think he did like he was a concert
Yeah,
promoter. I just
yeah. It says
watched Erg the other night, Erg: A Music War, and they're responsible for that film and
Yeah, it says
soundtrack.
he was a music promoter, a
Yeah.
British American music promoter. Said he was born in Syria. So, like you said,
Yeah,
that
like,
dad was in
their
the
dad was
military.
CIA. They were all over the place, I
Wow.
don't know
Yeah.
how much time they spent in the States.
So, as far as going through this, you can just name a song that on
Alright.
your list, and I'll I probably have it on my list too. I think for the most part, we probably have a lot of the same stuff. But I
Maybe,
actually
you
have two
never know.
cheats on my list here. On the it's my channel, so I'll just do some cheats on it.
Yeah, yeah, you can
But
cheat
I
a
can
little.
explain why I did it though once we get into it. But I'm sure you got some of these. A lot of some of these are hits. Some of these are a little bit deeper cuts. But yeah,
Alright.
go ahead with one of
Go
yours here, and you
go with
might
number
if you have it written
my
down, you
first
might
my
want to
first
scratch it off.
one
Okay.
from Ghost in the Machine is Invisible Sun.
Okay. There you go.
You got
I
that
didn't
one
have that on
too?
my list, so that's
Alright.
good. I thought about doing it though.
Yeah, Invisible Sun kinda just made it onto my list. There are a couple other ones I could have put there or chose, but I think the reason why I put it on there is just because I remember, like, how into that song was when I first heard it, when I first finally got that album and heard it, and I love, like, that slow build at the beginning, how,
Mhm.
ramps up or whatever, and, yeah, I mean, I just really always dug that track, it was kind of a little different, from what
Mhm.
what I was used to it from the Police were those kind of really up-tempo rock, new wave pop kind of songs, and then that comes along and it just kind of slows things down, but I always really dug that song. You know,
But
but
that's
that's
great. I mean,
yeah,
I hope that a lot of yours are deep cuts that I don't even have.
we'll
I'm sure
see.
we're gonna
I
have
mean,
some
yeah, we'll
crossover,
see.
but yeah, if you bring up a song that I have, I'll just get into it and just say it was on my list too. But as far as me, so I've got my first cheat here. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way because I think you probably got this too. Maybe. So I've got the "Driven to Tears," "When the World is Running Down," "You
Nope.
Make the Best of What's Going Still
Yeah,
Around."
yeah.
Yeah,
Nope. I
that
don't have
one of the
that.
longest song titles ever from the
But those
Police.
are those are combined. I thought those were two separate.
No,
No.
that's my cheat though. Those two
Oh,
songs,
the two songs. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
those two
okay.
songs, I can't listen to one song without the
'Cause I
other. It's
thought
like
maybe like on a live record they were combined or something like that.
no, but I mean
Might
on
not.
the I can't really think of any other Police songs where there's no cut at all. There's no fade out, and then in one song it just goes right into the next song.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah,
it's not quite like Pink Floyd, where Pink Floyd would have like crossover from like one song when as one song's ending, the next song's kind of automatically
yeah.
playing. It doesn't
So
do
this
that,
is
but
this is I think what I was thinking of is on Sting's live record, "Bring On the Night." It opens with "Bring On the Night," and it goes right into "When the World is Running Down."
oh really? Wow.
Yeah, which is good. I was going to mention this later, but I always loved this live record. I had it on vinyl back in the day. But I loved his version of I love his
Right.
version of Bring On the Night, this from this album, I like far better than the Police's version.
Wow,
Um,
so does it have, "Driven to Tears" on it too, or is it do they play that song on it, or, I mean,
it does,
is it
but it's not with those.
oh, it's 2 different wow.
Yeah,
I always
I
thought
mean,
those 2 songs were
it's there's a couple in here that I mean, I haven't listened to this in a while, but he blended a few songs. He blended "The Dream of the Blue Turtles" goes right into "Demolition Man," and then
wow.
"One World" blend goes right into "Love Is the Seventh Wave."
Okay,
Yeah,
wow,
I'd have to
okay.
listen to that. I haven't listened to that in a long time. I should pop that in. That's a good live record. Have you ever seen the film? Being that you're
No,
all into films, have you ever seen the documentary Bring on the Night? Michael App
no.
did. You should check it out. I mean,
Okay.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's a really good documentary because it's all about that band coming together and rehearsing and stuff like that. It's really good. Um,
I have the Police, it's in the other room right now, but it's the one it's like a live, Blu-ray
the
that shows,
certifiable
like,
one
old
from the
concert
reunion.
footage, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
I know what you're talking about. It's like all around the world or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd have
yeah,
to look it up to see what it is, what it's, exactly called,
yeah.
but it's fun to watch though, like, that old, like,
Well,
late
there's like
'70s,
a
early '80s.
couple. Yeah, there's a couple. Like Stuart Copeland did one, which I think is called "Everyone Stares,"
Right.
and then Andy Summers did one, which I forget what the name of it is. I might have them reversed. Andy Summers might have done "Everyone Stares." I think Stuart Copeland, but the two of them did like like a police. They both did their own like police documentary or whatever, like and I mean, it wasn't like like a documentary like Talking Heads, people going blah blah blah. It was more just like time capsules, like footage. Like I know the Stuart Copeland one. I don't know which one. One of them like shot a ton of footage, like on Super 8 or whatever, and
Right, I think it's
filmed it.
that one. It's that
Yeah, I
one.
think yeah. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. I've seen those. I've seen those films, but yeah.
Yeah, because the most recent one is 2022, it's, Around the World Restored and
Yeah, I
Expanded.
remember when that came out. They put that out on like vinyl and CD and all that stuff.
Could be that one, it doesn't give a picture of it on
That one I
the
think might be made up a lot from the Synchronicity tour.
right, and it has a lot of stuff from the late '70s and early '80s,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
all kinds of different
Yeah,
ones,
there's a lot of stuff out there. I remember when this came out, when Every Breath You Take came out, the greatest hits record, I had the VHS that was put
right,
out with it as well, and it was just the music videos, but like the thing about the Police, there were different they did a multiple versions of videos for some of those, especially early on. Because I remember there was like a Roxanne video on that, and then
right.
I'd see Roxanne the video elsewhere, and it's like that's not the one that's on my tape. Like there were a handful of different versions of. So, I mean, I think they are one of those bands that they had cameras rolling around them almost from the
Yeah,
beginning. A lot of bands don't, but I feel like they had cameras. They had cameras filming their shenanigans from early on. So there's
that's
tons
always
of
smart to
footage.
do because a lot of fans
Yeah,
wanna see that stuff later, 40 years
yeah.
later, I mean, it's a
Well, it's like hindsight. I mean, at the time, they probably didn't know anything, like, they're just messing around?
yeah, when you know you're, like,
So
a good band, you should probably document it,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so
So
people
so
wanna see.
those are your honorable mentions or whatever,
Well,
right?
that's one of my tracks, it's one,
Oh, you
together.
just cheated, you put 2 of them together.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's
so
my
that
cheat.
was your 10. That was your
Yeah, that's
10th
one of them.
selection. Alright, so my next one, I have a feeling you're gonna have this on your list. This one is also from Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
This one is Omega Man.
Okay, no, I didn't have
You
that one.
don't have that one?
No.
I love that song, and that's like a discovery. I'd never heard that until I bought the cassettes. And when I bought the cassette and I'd be driving around, you listen to the whole cassette, and it's near the end of the album. And this is similar to kind of what you were just talking about with those other songs, because I remember like the 1-2 punch of Omega Man going into Secret Journey.
Okay.
I can't remember. I feel like maybe they like what you're talking about. I feel like they do kind of meld, like they go right into it. Like Omega Man kind of just leads right into Secret Journey. I might be wrong. I haven't listened to them in a little while, but my memory is that they did. But yeah, I always loved that Omega Man song. It's upbeat. I think it's about that. The what's that movie? I Am Legend.
Yeah.
that they turned into like The Last Man on Earth. They turned into Omega Man, the movie with I think Charlton Heston maybe or something.
Right. I
Um,
think so.
but I think it's based on that or whatever. But yeah, a really good like up tempo tune. I think it's something that a lot of people aren't that familiar with that song. It's near the end of the album, and it wasn't a single or anything like that. Who knows if they play it live or if they ever did? I don't know, but that's my number. That's my ninth selection, Omega Man.
Yeah, I have a song from that album too. I have a couple songs from Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah,
My favorites is "Spirits in the Material World," which is like one of the big mega hits from the album.
yeah.
But
There, I
I
mean,
love that.
it's like we were saying before. I mean, these albums are all so good because, like, when I was going making my putting my list together, and I was like, I got a lot of stuff. I'm picking a lot of stuff from Ghost in the Machine, and or when I was writing down the song titles, and I was like, which album was that on? And it's like Ghost in the Machine. And I was like, damn. I was like, I forgot how good that record was. So, and it's like that with all their records. It's like you just pick up any of their albums and you look at the track list, and you're like, Jesus. I mean, it's like every damn song on every one of these records. You know,
I just love the way that song kicks off. Whenever I do like a police,
Spirits in the Material
yeah,
World.
whenever I do like a best of whatever compilation, I always put that song first. I just love the way the
Yeah,
Sting's
that's
bass
cool.
playing. Like he's the lead singer of the band, but I think he's an outstanding bass player. And
Yeah, probably
unfortunately, because
doesn't get as much credit for
right,
that as he,
because
probably
I think
should.
when he first started, I think he wasn't really comfortable as far as having to sing and stand and sing and play bass at the same time. But I think there are songs where
And
they
his
they kind of
ego
jam out a
kicked
little
in, and he was like, "I'm fine with that." No,
bit.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think he got better at it, but at first he
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, that's the one thing I had to mention about Sting. I mentioned that when I did my ranking of the police is that Stuart Copeland says that Sting is extremely shy. Considering for
Oh,
a
really?
frontman rock star, you wouldn't think he would ever be a shy person, but
Yeah.
people say they think he's arrogant. That's one thing that people perceive him as being arrogant because he's not really he doesn't communicate with people extremely
Right,
well. He doesn't want to be in the party and be the life of the party or anything. For a
right.
frontman of a major rock band, you think he would be, but he said that it's not arrogance. He's just very shy. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't like being around crowds, and he doesn't
Yeah.
want to be. You would think a lead singer would be the life of the party, the guy
Yeah,
that wants
yeah.
to be
For
seen
the
up
most
front.
part. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, he's got a reputation of not being the friendly. I mean, to what you're saying, but I mean, he does have this reputation of being um a bit of a wanker, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I could see that. But I don't know. I think it's probably maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, he's a little shy, but he's probably also a little bit of a wanker.
He
Seems
probably
like.
gets sick of
Seems like.
people approaching him all the time. If you're
Yeah,
a major
yeah,
rock star, you don't want to be people coming up to you and
yeah,
ask for autographs and pictures and stuff like that. He's not into being like a rock star necessarily. Even if he is a rock star, but
yeah,
he's a
yeah,
celebrity, well known. But he doesn't. I don't think he really wants to be
yeah.
the life of the
I
party kind of
mean,
guy.
yeah. I don't know that there are a ton of people who really love that as much as maybe people think, but
More in the
uh,
hard rock and metal kind of world, and in their world, they're more musicians than they are, celebrities or being, rock stars. I think they're more just musicians that
yeah,
are
yeah,
really good at what they do, and that's what
yeah.
singing is really.
I hear
Yeah,
you. All right, so that's Omega Man's Mind. What was Spirits in the Material World? Wasn't your ninth, was it?
yeah, that's my ninth. Yeah.
Oh, it was. All right. I thought you were just bringing that song up. Oh.
No,
All
that's one
right.
of my
So
favorite.
that's
That's
your
my favorite police song.
all right.
I have that listed number one on my list here. So
Spirits in the
not since we're not
Material
doing
World.
rankings, I'm not really putting them in like the order
Uh,
necessarily or
Spirits in the
ranking them.
Material World. Your favorite
Yeah,
police song?
that'd be my number one for the
All right.
police. Yeah.
Well, all right. So my next one does not feature Andy Summers.
Oh,
Features the original guitar player Henry. I believe his last name is pronounced Padovani, maybe. And it's available here and there in different things. I have it on this best of collection they put out when they reunited. It's on here. It's called Fallout.
right. You mentioned that one before. Yeah.
Did
Yep.
I? Yeah.
I
That's
mean, you
a
mentioned it to me
great.
offline once before.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think
a
I listened to it
great
on
great
YouTube.
song.
Yeah.
Really fast tempo. Um, I mean, if probably has like the you know the remnants of or the influence of the punk scene that they were kind of, around. Um, I don't know the whole story behind why they replaced that guitar player with Andy Summers. I know that there was a release, I think in the 90s it came out, was kind of like unofficial. I don't think it was a bootleg, but I don't think it was like sanctioned by the police. I think it's called like Stronium 90, and it was
Oh,
some other band. It was like predated the police, and I think Sting and Stuart Copeland were in this band, and I think this dude Henry Padovani was in that band too. I think there was like 5 dudes in the band or whatever, but it basically was a band that they were in, and then when that kind of fell by the wayside or whatever, they formed the police.
okay.
But I know it's available. Like you can get. I remember when the CD came out. I just for whatever reason never bought it, and I think there might even be like 1 or 2 songs on there that later they re-recorded as the police. But I think it's called like Stronium 90. I think that might have been the name of the band or whatever. But yeah. So, anyways, Fallout is uh, my next choice. It's
Number
interesting that
3.
they've included it. I think it might have been on that message in a box as well.
Oh.
But anyways, that's it. Fallout.
Well, I gotta imagine Andy Summers is probably based on just his talent. He's probably like, this guy's talented than the other guy they had.
Yeah,
I
but I
really
mean,
don't
I
know
don't
much
know
about
if
the
it
other
was
guy.
like a case of this guy, like, we need somebody better, or if this guy was like, I'm done with this shit, I'm moving on to something else, or what. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember what the scenario was of how he left and they brought in Andy Summers. I don't know. I don't know what the story was. I don't remember.
Yes, I'm gonna bring up more about Andy Summers later as far as his playing. I think
Okay.
he's an outstanding guitar player, but I'm gonna mention more of it when we get done with our list here. I'm
All
gonna
right.
talk about it more. But my next one though, this is one I think it's a kind of a deep cut. This is from my favorite album from the Police, which I had number one. Was it Regatta de Blanc from that
That's your
album?
favorite record?
It's my favorite Police album,
Okay,
yeah,
cool. All right.
because it is so. I think the musicianship on that album is
I
better
think
than
it's a really good one too. But I think it's definitely when people usually rank those albums, it's usually near the bottom.
lower, yeah,
But
because it doesn't have the hits. It doesn't have
yeah,
the
I
hits,
mean,
but
it's got a couple, but it's not. It doesn't have as many as the other ones. But it is a really, really good record. I
yeah, I think
agree. I agree. It's a great record.
yeah. So the song I wanted to mention is it's called "The Bed's Too Big Without You."
Yep. Yep.
That's a crazy. I love that riff on it. It's got that kind of like reggae kind of sound.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Yeah. For
dun,
sure.
dun, dun, dun. It's great driving kind of song. That's why
Yeah.
I love it. I love the sound of that album. I think the production's really great on it.
Yeah.
I think it's their best musicianship too, even though it's not their big hit singles, which is nothing wrong with that though. They have some really really great songs, but that's why I like it so much. I think it's because it's not been burnt out so much. These songs I've
Yeah.
heard for 40 years are more
The big hits off of that, "A Message in a Bottle," of course, and "Walking on the Moon."
right. Those are the
And
two.
after
Those are the
that, I mean, honestly, "Bed's Too Big Without You" might be the next most popular song on there,
yeah.
but it
I
is
love
a
it.
really,
I
really
listened
good
to it again
record.
last night because I was like because I had some songs from I have like say 4 songs from that album on my list here, and I thought,
Oh, yeah.
am I do I still love this album? And I listened to the whole thing last night driving, and I thought, yeah, this is I still love this. I love the production, the
Yeah,
way the songs kind of mix together, how weird it is. There's one song in there I don't have on my list, but there's one that's got some really offensive kind of term on it about one of their sons. You know that I'm not going to get into it. There's
yeah,
something kind of offensive on it that you probably wouldn't get away with now, but that's I love that album for just the way it sounds and the musicianship,
right.
which is it's not going to be real commercial when you're becoming. They became more commercial when they got away from that and got more to the hits
Yeah, yeah,
and stuff, not jamming as much and kind of just becoming more MTV friendly. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why I know the Police because of the MTV videos. So
yeah,
that's a whole part of their whole history is having those videos, how popular they were and all that.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, but
I mean, it was the videos certainly, but, Synchronicity well, my next song's from Synchronicity, so we
yeah,
can just kinda get into that.
Go
Here's
ahead.
synchronicity. The famous thing about this record is, which I never knew for ages and ages and ages, is that the vinyl is actually translucent purple.
Oh wow,
And I never knew that. It's very hard to see, but the minute you take it out, like I hold this up, you
gets the
can
light.
kind of
Yeah,
like, if you're looking for it, it's like, oh yeah. Because I think I heard that somewhere. Somebody mentioned it, and I think I was working on the road at the time. And I was like, when I get home, I got to check my copy. And I
yeah.
pulled it out, and I was like, oh damn, look at that. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But I'm embarrassed. Like I said, I owned this on vinyl originally in the
Hmm.
'80s, and then traded it for a cassette of this. And then when I got back into vinyl, a handful of years ago, I picked this up, and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed when I bought this record on vinyl, this copy, because I was down in New Orleans, and there was this great record store that used to be there called Scully's,
Oh,
and they sort of catered to more like punk and stuff like that. But anyways, I was there digging through their stuff, and I found this, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick it up. It's probably really cheap." But why I was embarrassed was because I was wearing this T-shirt, man, and I was like, I feel like an idiot, man, going
oh.
out like wearing this and going up to the counter buying the police record.
I would just tell them. I would just have. I have everything on
I
CD. I'm just buying everything on vinyl now. That
Yeah,
would be
I
my
know. I
cover
mean,
up.
they didn't care, but I mean, it just felt like a little weird, like I just felt like a little odd. I probably should have gave somebody some money to buy it for me outside. But
I would say I'm buying an extra copy. My copy's
yeah,
kind of crackles and pop from this
I
vinyl one.
just let it go. I didn't
Instead of defending yourself, the guy was like, "What this guy doing?"
yeah. I'm sure when I left he was probably like poser.
He's like,
Oh, you
"Can you believe this?"
poser.
He called the
Yeah,
staff over
poser.
for,
But
"What's this guy?"
the song from this record that I chose is a very popular one, Synchronicity 2.
Yeah.
Um I was gonna pick Synchronicity 1,
Well,
but I between the 2, I just was like, "You know what? I think Synchronicity 1 is a great song, but, I just was like, the Synchronicity 2, there's just like another level of greatness
it's
that
got a great
maybe
video.
Synchronicity 1 doesn't quite get
Yeah,
to, as opposed to 2. I mean, 2 was very popular. It was a single. The video was
video.
like
Video is really
played.
wild, and
Yeah,
it's
it's a
really
great
it looks
video.
really low budget now if you watch it now, but it's
Yeah,
the way when I was a kid
it's
seeing all that, how the stuff's flying
just
it
that all
in the
that
air and stuff.
sound of crap, that they're
Yeah,
playing on and shit.
it's
Yeah,
got like a Mad Max
yeah,
kinda
for
vibe to
sure,
it,
for
sort of.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that I just was like, you know what? I gotta pick Synchronicity 2. That
well,
was
that's gonna lead me
Synchronicity.
into mine because
Yeah,
this is
yours is
this
Synchronicity
is my
1,
other
right?
cheat. Yeah, this is
Oh,
my
okay,
other cheat. My other cheat is for mine, the 4th one, it's gonna be Synchronicity 1 and 2.
2. Alright.
I mixed them up. I said I'm gonna put them together. I love the way the record starts off with that dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
that whole
yeah,
thing,
yeah. Yeah,
and
it's a
then
good opening, yeah.
so I thought I'm just gonna because that's what I was like I want to put both of these on there, but and I had to drop out. I'd probably drop those the songs I have from Regatta de Blanc
Right,
to
right.
put on. So that was my other cheat of like, well, it's Synchronicity and Synchronicity one and two,
Yeah.
combine
I
them
mean,
all.
I'll let you slide, but
Okay, well,
you
no
you
more after that though.
the
I'm
other
not doing
one
cheating
made a
anymore.
little bit of sense because they lead right into each other, but
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, on the
these
first
2
side of
aren't
the
even
album,
together. Yeah, they're on.
that song starts it off, and that's Synchronicity two is the last song on that first side. Which the first side of Synchronicity is not as strong until its second side is like really
Yeah,
great. So the first side's got like Mother, and it's got a couple songs
yeah.
that are not as popular.
I don't really even I know they're weird, like Walking in Your Footsteps,
Yeah,
Mother. I don't mind them. I mean, it's not like I wanna listen to them every day, but I don't mind them. Even the weirder stuff like, on the first record, Be My Girl, Sally, like, I mean, the music in that is really good. That when it becomes like a spoken word thing,
yeah,
it's like whatever. But I mean, it's I like, some people like even like Mother, they might be like, what the hell is this? But I appreciate when bands,
yeah.
like, because I mean, I love the song Murder by Numbers. It's a great song.
Is that on your
It's not
list?
on the vinyl, it's on the
It's on your vinyl.
CD,
Okay,
and I think it was on the cassette. But you
okay.
could easily say, well, why didn't they just pull Mother and put Murder by Numbers on there? Um, but I mean, I kind of appreciate when, a band like, at that point in their career, the Police, this album, I mean, obviously before they put it out, they didn't know how major it was going to be, but they were a popular band. They were already playing arenas and all that stuff. Um, so the
Yeah,
idea that, they could have easily played it safe and not
right.
put something like Mother on there, you know what I mean? But that's
Well, I
what they
think in the
wanted to put
CD,
on there. That's what they wanted to put on there. I appreciate that.
well, I know the vinyl always, because of the way they have to fit songs on each side, and like a lot of times they're not going to front load, the
Yeah.
first side. Like I said, they don't know necessarily what's going to be hits on it, but they probably had a good idea with some of these songs would be more popular than
Yeah.
others. But in the CD age, I think they could mix. In the CD age, with that, when vinyl stopped being as popular, they started, CDs started to be really long, and they would front load it.
Too long. Too
Front
long.
load, yeah. They felt like we got 75 minutes or so,
Yeah.
80 minutes. We
Yeah.
got to fill that hole up, and I think it kind of hurts a lot of albums that are pretty good, like
Yeah.
like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk, or the
Not
Blood
Mother.
Sugar Sex Magic's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
too. It's like the second side's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
most not.
that was the problem with CDs is that there was it basically almost like doubled what they could put on, like time wise.
Yeah,
And I think it's better, like I always appreciate now when a band puts out a record now and it's like 11 songs or something, you know what I mean? Like I feel
19
like
songs.
that still should have like been the more or less like the goal. Like we want 10 or 11 songs on here or whatever, Yeah, we can fit 18, but should we, But
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah,
that's
but
kind of like I listened to the Who. I told you last week I listened to Who's Next. It's only got 9 songs on it. I mean, the CD's got like bonus tracks on it, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the album's only got 9 songs, and it's an iconic song album because of it's only 9 songs. They trim the fat. There's really no
Yeah,
skippable songs. Even some people don't like My Wife necessarily, but I think that's a great song. I mean, that's
yeah,
what John Entwistle sings that song. I love that song, but some people would think it's a weaker song on that album. But
yeah.
that's
Yeah, that album through and through, I think is 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 all good. And yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of like that I think is sort of like should have remained the standard, like
yeah,
but
trim
like
the fat.
again in CDs, like especially in the 90s, I mean, people just, it was like, hey man, we got the space, let's just fill
Yeah.
it up,
Well,
and
because they charge people so much money for even for CDs. Like we feel like
yeah.
I got to give them a reason to buy
Yeah,
it.
I guess
Bonus
you could say
tracks,
that. Yeah, kind of makes sense. But
but it hurts albums a lot of times. But
yeah,
to in my next, you
you
just gave
did
one?
Synchronicity 1 and 2, right? That was your
No, I
last.
wanted to yet. Okay,
So my next choice is from the debut,
okay,
and I've got Next to You,
okay.
which similar to what I was saying about like Fallout or whatever, like Next to You reminds me again of like sort of like a punk influence, just that hard driving, like
Really
fast
fast.
tempoed. Yeah,
Yep.
I really like that song, and for those reasons.
Yeah, what
Um,
could you do? Yeah, the whole thing. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah,
yeah,
it's only like maybe like 3 minutes or less.
yeah,
I think
short song.
short
Yeah,
song. Yeah, but
but
yeah, I like that too. That
I
they
do like.
kind of got it in and out. That's that debut album. But my
Oh, there's my ticket stub from seeing the
oh
Police on
wow,
the
what
reunion.
is that? I was from the
Um,
from the reunion show.
yeah, yeah, I didn't see them before that. That
Yeah,
what their last tour, the Synchronicity. I wasn't going to concerts yet
right.
at that age.
It was only
Um,
was that 84, 85? Was
three.
it the last show?
No, it was 83.
83?
83, although it might have went into 84.
Right.
But speaking of which, when they reunited for the Amnesty tour in 86, I believe, and I remember wanting to go to that show, and I was trying to get tickets. I thought I was going to become a ticket scalper because I was like I knew a bunch of people who wanted to go, and I thought I had a connection for tickets for the Amnesty show at
Yeah,
Giant Stadium,
yeah.
and I remember, dude, it was like something out of Fast Times.
Right, I was gonna
I remember
Damone,
having
yeah.
like a little pad, and I
Right,
was like
right.
writing down all these people's names, like how many tickets they wanted, and then I don't
Yeah,
remember what happened, but needless to say, I didn't become a scalper.
I was gonna say that Damone, you got Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets. It's
Yeah,
like, where
yeah,
were you last week? But you got Van
yeah.
Halen tickets. Yeah,
Yep, that's the classic. But yeah, I remember that was a brief moment in time. I thought I was going to become a ticket scalper, and it was all around that show when they reformed for the Amnesty shows. But yeah, that's my next to you. That's my number. That's my sixth one here.
okay. So I'm gonna give another one from Regatta de Blanc. The next one, "Does Everyone Stare?" Love that song too. I listened to that again last night, and that was already when I was planning on putting that on my list before, and I listened to the album again last night. I've always loved that the weird piano. The
Yeah,
time
yeah,
signature
yeah,
is really weird on it. Ding, ding, ding,
yeah.
all there.
That's
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, like that's the thing about the Police. They did. We were just talking about Mother. Like they have a handful of things like that on their albums where they're kind of like not really quote unquote playing it safe or whatever. Like um, they're just kind of doing whatever it is that they kind of felt like doing at the time. So it's not like, oh, we just need stuff that sounds like top 40 hits. They were
right.
playing whatever. But so they have these kind of unusual kind of tunes in there and stuff like that. That's
Well, it's a lot.
certainly a
It's a
little,
lot. Yeah, it's a lot like prog bands where they kind of show they're trying to show off their musicianship, but most
yeah,
people aren't really musicians, so they want to hear radio hits and stuff like that. And they don't want to hear songs where
yeah,
the bands are kind of showing off what they can do because they're great musicians and they're kind of showing off. And then
right,
that album is the first album is more of a punk album, the second album is more of like a musician's kind of album,
right.
and then they got more commercial on the third release, and
Yeah, yeah, for
it's
sure.
still great though.
Which leads me to my next choice.
Yeah.
Speaking of, here's Zenyatta Mandata.
Yep.
And that was also kind of funny. I remember that was the one thing I think that I remember about the Police initially was all the titles of their albums. It was always like, what the like I thought it was all just like made up stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but this album, to your point, like I mean, you look at the second album, Regatta Blanc, there it seems a little more, for lack of a better term, like uh not experimental, but you know what I mean? Like what we're saying. It wasn't like it wasn't full chock full of like what you would think to hear on the top 40. The first
Mhm.
one, in hindsight, I mean, the first one had a couple of hits, but in hindsight, when you listen to the first one, it sounds like it's chock full of hits, so to say.
Mhm.
But this album is chock full of
Mhm.
hits, and it sounds like that. And my choice from this record is Canary in a Coal Mine.
Oh wow. Okay. There you go.
Yep.
That's 1980 when that album was released. 1980.
1980. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like
Um,
debut 78. Second, the
yeah.
Regatta LeBlanc is 79.
79. Yeah.
So they
One,
did all this stuff,
back
great
then it
stuff.
was one every year. That's how they
Yeah.
used
It's
to
like
do it.
they're doing great stuff like late 70s, early 80s. It's like, and they kind of left right at their peak, just like Van Halen in 1984, even though that band continued
Yeah.
on. But a
No, they
mega
did.
hit album, you know.
I am a little bummed that when they reunited for that tour in 2007, I didn't expect them to do anything, but it would have been interesting just to see what they would have come up with at that age, then working together again, just as like, even if it was just like 2 or 3 songs or whatever,
EP or
not like a
something. Yeah.
full album. It would have been interesting just to see what they come up with. My only fear is that because Sting's really the one writing everything, my fear would be that it wouldn't be the Police. It would be
Right.
Sting,
Solo.
and they would just be like kind of filling in instrumentation or whatever. But it would have been interesting just to hear what they possibly could have come up with. I just think it's weird when you hear Sting talk about like that doesn't interest him anymore. Like that kind of like rock band doesn't interest him anymore.
Right.
Um, because the stuff, like a lot of stuff he was putting out, like as a solo artist, it's so much of it, especially after about like maybe his second solo record, it just got so dull and boring and stuff. And it's like, how is that more interesting to you than, you know, the stuff you did, like that up tempo rock songs and stuff. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me, but to each their own, whatever. But
Right. Well, I
anyways,
think,
you know,
yeah, they were still popular. Those songs are still hits and stuff like that. And he still had hit singles even from
yeah,
the
I mean, they
solo
went
album.
out on top. I mean, they didn't, they famously say like we never really broke up because the band
Yeah.
just never reconvened. I mean, when
Mhm.
they made this record, like we were talking about, I mean, that was the plan. They were going to re-record every song that was going to be on there. I always say we dodged a bullet. I think that was a
Right.
disaster.
Yeah,
But
I'm glad they didn't do that because
yeah, but I mean,
we were talking.
I think I don't remember like if after his first solo record, if I mean after his first solo record, that's when they did this.
Right.
But I don't know if there was any like attempts to do something. I feel like maybe the story was they tried to work on new stuff and it just
Yeah.
wasn't working. They were fighting. They were nobody could agree with each other. So that's
Right.
why they decided to do this. Like, well, we can't agree on any of this. Why don't we just put out like a best of and we'll re-record them and all that stuff. But yeah, I
Wait,
mean, I think we dodged a bullet by them not re-recording everything that ended up on that. But
you
anyway,
said
so that's
you said before the stream that Stuart Copeland he broke his arm, didn't he?
no, he broke his like collarbone. I think he fell off a
Okay,
horse
because
and
the "Don't
yeah,
Stand So Close to Me" '86 is like
like
it's like drum
electronic
machine or
and
it's a
stuff.
poppy. It's not
Yeah,
like real. It sounds more like
it's the well, "Don't Stand So Close to Me" '86 sounds like where Sting was going with his solo career.
right.
Not so much the jazz element to it, but that slow kind of like whatever, you call it. I'm
A
not a
lot of
musician.
keyboards too. I think
Yeah,
some of their songs. I don't know if Andy Summers plays the keyboards because there's some songs where Sting's still singing and playing bass, but there's no guitar. It must be Andy Summers playing
right.
synthesizer or something
Yeah, he
on.
might. I'm pretty sure he might. I feel like I've seen his name next to like synthesizer or whatever.
Yeah, I
So,
can't
anyways,
recall.
that's mine. Canary in a coal mine was my last pick.
All right, so I'm going to do one more from
Got it. The Blanc.
Regatta de Blanc on the list here. I like "Walking on the Moon." I was listening to that last night. It's got Sting's bass, ding ding ding, the whole thing, and it's
Yeah,
got Stuart Copeland's his hi hat action. He's doing that whole thing. To me, that's and even Andy Summers' guitar is really outstanding on the whole album. To me,
yeah,
that's why I like that song. I was like I had "Walking on the Moon" on my list. And then I dropped it off. That song's way. I've heard it too many times, but then when I listened to the album again last night, Regatta de Blanc. But still love the song. I love the way
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
the
I mean,
bass.
that's what you got to do sometimes with this stuff. Is like, I mean, that's sort of where my head was with Synchronicity too. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I've heard it a million times. Do I want to put it on right now? I don't know, but I remember like how much I loved that song for a long period of time. Like so. It's like, you got to kind of remember how that song kind of affected you, even if now you're kind of like, I've heard it a million times or whatever. So my next tune is from the debut album on CD now on Outlandis from Demore. There was a different album cover, I think, in
Green, yeah,
my vinyl is green and this is
right.
red, but then there was a completely different album cover for I don't know if that's the British version or what, I don't know, whatever. But my tune off of this is So Lonely,
Okay, yeah,
which is a great one. Uh yeah, just again, similar, just another like catchy, awesome tune. I don't really have any in-depth analysis on any
yeah.
of these things.
So it's a this is one album cover, right?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. I
Yeah.
don't know
So
if that was like the UK release or what, but I've seen that places, but I don't know what the story is behind that one. I mean, this is obviously the one always remember seeing and whatever.
right, that's the most in the U.S. I think that's the most common. And then, like you said, you've got the vinyl one with the green letters.
Yeah, yeah,
They release it different ways. Um, yeah, that's a great choice too. I like
yeah.
that one
So
too.
lonely. I remember the video that I think that was on the video, the VHS of this.
Right.
Um, and I just remember the video and everything as well. I think it was. I don't know. whatever. But that's a great tune. So lonely, so lonely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what do
awesome.
you got
Yeah.
next?
So I'm gonna do uh, another really common one, message in a bottle. Love that, sending out an SOS. That
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
imagery of putting a message in a bottle, sending it off, and somebody finding your message years later. That's still
They just found a local thing here. They just found a in I think I don't know if it was the Bahamas or Barbados or something. They just found a bottle washed up on shore. I just read this today with a note inside it from 1971,
right.
and it came from here.
Wow.
But I didn't read the article about what it said or anything like that. But I just saw the headline.
That's
That
amazing to think
yeah,
something's like in the ocean, whatever, and then they just put cork on the top, and somehow it never
yep.
gets wet.
There's a lot of garbage out there floating in the ocean. Unfortunately, you go to the Pacific, there's a whole island of it. But
I think we both love the 70s, anything 70s. So it's like that's cool that something
yeah,
survived that
yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah. It's
That's
pretty nutty
that's
to
the same
think.
year
Yeah,
as Who's Next. So,
yeah,
so,
yeah. It's pretty weird. I like I said, I'd have to read the article. I'd be curious to see what I don't know if the articles had like what the note said on it or whatever, but like yeah, kind of interesting. So message in a bottle was your choice. So my next choice is finally from your favorite record of all
oh
time,
yes,
Regatta de Blanc.
there you go.
Um, the tune I picked from this is No Time This Time.
Okay, yeah, I almost put that on mine too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these ones that I'm picking are like sort of lean towards their like punk,
Yeah,
you know, element, I guess. But yeah, that's another really great, like kind of fast tempoed one. I hadn't heard it in a long time, and I just kind of like refreshed my memory. I clicked on it, and I was like instantly, I was like, oh yeah, 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 that's going on the list. That's going on the list. You know,
well, I
type
kind of
thing.
forgot about The Bed's Too Big Without You, and like when I heard that
Yeah,
again, oh god, I love this song. And listen to it when I listened to it when I did my ranking a couple years ago. That's why like I said, the production on the album so great. It's a I think every song's pretty strong on it. I think the last song's maybe one that's not as strong as some of the others, but
on which one? On Regatta de Blanc?
yeah, the last
That
song
might.
is one
I
that
think that's the last song. No
no,
time.
no,
This time is the last song on there.
is it the last song?
Yeah,
Let's see, I'm going back to it.
yeah. No time. This time is the last song on the album.
Okay, okay, well, but it's still a great song. I mean, it's not like like I said, I like the whole album, but I
Yeah.
thought that I
No,
listened
it
to it
is good.
again.
Yeah, the whole record's really good. That's the only one I picked from that album. There's a couple I could have easily picked
Yeah, I mean,
from
like
this.
yeah, I'm not gonna
It's all right for you. I would have maybe picked
Contact. I think Contact's really
Context.
strong.
Pretty good.
I think,
O- On
on
any
Any Other
other day.
Day, I think that's the one that's got the weird
Yeah, that's
lyrics
a
where he's
little
talking about
odd.
his son and
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's odd.
that probably wouldn't work so much today, but
Yeah,
1979, I guess that was you can get away with that, but more back then, but,
yeah.
um,
So what's your? That's mine. No time this time. What's your next one here?
next one, another hit, They Do, da 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 da. That almost didn't make it too, like, "Oh, this song, I've heard this too many
Yeah,
times," but
yeah, yeah.
I still love the lyrics to that song. It's like, you know, I thought maybe I'm sick of this song. I put it on again. No, I still like this song. It
Yeah,
hasn't burned out for me. Just like a lot of stuff from Synchronicity. I've heard way too many songs, but
yeah.
times,
The
but
thing about like synchronicity is I mean, a lot of their stuff I hadn't listened to in a long, long time. So like it's sort of I think the police, even synchronicity, even something like every breath you take, like as played to death as that song is, was, whatever,
mhm.
like I feel like I haven't really been hearing it
Yeah,
a lot in the last 10 some odd years that like I can finally kind of like listen to it again and
yeah,
appreciate it, for not like, oh, not this again, like I feel like I a lot of those synchronicity songs the last couple of years I've kind of finally been able to like reappreciate or I can listen to now without feeling like I've heard it a million times. Um,
Well, like I said, whenever I do a police compilation best of, I always put the songs from Synchronicity on it. They usually put those songs kind of later, so I can
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
songs I like the most early. Sometimes I don't make it to the end of the CD when I make a burned CD,
right,
whatever,
right,
listen to it in the car. I
yeah,
don't even listen to it, but I still keep it on there. When you're talking about best of, those songs from
yeah,
Synchronicity
yeah,
are still great songs.
yeah.
So,
That's true. So my next one is another one from Zenyatta Mandata,
mhm.
and it's called "Man in a Suitcase."
Okay, all
Story,
right,
the story of my life.
that's all right.
Uh, yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, dude, I mean, I can't tell you how many times traveling around for work, like I move into a new place and
Yeah,
I'm singing that tune to myself, man. As I
yeah.
unpack,
For a lot of people,
uh,
anybody that's watching this, they may know that Steve does
yeah, I work
travel a
on the
lot.
road. Yeah,
You were
I
gone for
work
like
on the
5
road.
months recently and then finally got back
Yeah,
home. You
yeah.
live in what, somewhere in New Jersey, but,
I live in New Jersey, but I'm always when I work, I'm on the road, and
yeah,
it's
like you
usually
said,
for a few
you
months.
lived in Los Angeles at one time. That's why you
I
like the
lived in
Rams.
Yeah, I lived in Los Angeles for back in the '90s. I lived in Los Angeles.
You've been to almost every state pretty much, especially like
There's a
you've
couple
been
I
to New
haven't been
Orleans
to.
and Vegas and
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple I haven't been to. I mean, I don't think I've been to Idaho. I think I've been to South Dakota. I'm not sure if I've been to North Dakota.
hmm,
Um, yeah, I mean, I have been to a lot of them. Some of them just driving through, but
right.
um,
You ever been to
I've,
Mississippi at all?
Mississippi, I've been to. Yeah, I've been to Elvis's house,
Yeah,
Elvis's childhood home.
right.
When I worked for a while on a show in Baton Rouge for about 2 years, and Baton Rouge in Louisiana was great because it was kind of there were a lot of places to go when we had like weekends off. I have friends in Memphis, so I could drive up to Memphis for the weekend. I'd go to Mississippi, go to Texas. There were like Indiana. I went to this town in Chester, I think is Chester, Indiana, which is where the guy who created Popeye was
Yeah,
from. And they have a whole there's a museum there, all Popeye stuff, but they also have these giant statues of all the different Popeye characters from the newspaper comic. And it's kind of like a tourist thing, like a trail, they're not just all together, they're spread out over the town. It's right there. It's like right on the Mississippi or whatever. Um,
hmm.
but yeah, I mean, so it was really cool just being able to kind of go to all these different places. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot to see out there,
You
and
you said it was that New Orleans you went to or just Louisiana?
I mean, we worked in Baton Rouge, so New Orleans was just down the road. So I've been there a
Is that
bunch of times
after Katrina or before?
after Katrina. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
I actually was there on the first time I think I went to New Orleans. I think I was there on like it wasn't planned or anything. I was just walking around and I went to this park, um, and there were a bunch of people there, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And then I didn't even realize that it was the anniversary of Katrina, and they were sort of having like you know, uh, this kind of like moment of silence or whatever, in honor of that and everything. And I just kind of stumbled upon it. That's happened a couple of times. I was in Dallas one time and didn't even realize it. It was like the anniversary of JFK's
Wow.
murder. And like I just saw a bunch of people there gathering and I went over there and then all of a sudden I was like, oh shoot, that's happening here. Right. That's today, that's the anniversary or
Wow.
whatever. So
Huh.
yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, man in the suitcase, my life story. So I had to put that on here.
Well, so I'm gonna go another famous one from, Zenyatta Mandata. Is that I'm pronouncing that right? Uh,
Yeah,
don't stand so close to me. I still like the
yeah, that's a good one. It's a good
still,
one.
like I said,
It's a
I like
really
that more than the '86,
yeah,
remix,
yeah, yeah.
I like
I
the
agree.
original.
Yeah, I agree. The another tune on there that I would have maybe chosen from Zenyatta Mandata was "Bombs Away." I always like that one too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I guess on YouTube when I was looking up these songs just to listen to them again, and then I listened to Regatta de Blanc in the car last night. But it showed a live performance with Stuart Copeland's playing guitar and singing on on that song "Bombs Away."
Really?
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it's
recent
not part of the Police.
or from back then?
No, it's from more in recent years,
Oh, for real?
but I guess he played. Obviously he's like he's a composer. He does like film scores, but
Yeah.
so he can do more than just play drums.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's singing and playing guitar up front.
Really?
On
Oh,
that song. I
interesting.
guess because he's Stuart Copeland. You're
I'll
trying
have
to
to look
sell.
that up. That'd be interesting. Stuart
Yeah,
Copeland singing "Bombs Away," huh?
yeah. So
Oh, shit. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'll have to see. So did you pick something? I picked "Man
I
on a
have
Suitcase." Oh, you picked "Don't Stand So Close to Me," so I'm
yeah,
done. This is my last one.
yep.
My last one is probably the most commercial song that I chose here
Oh
of everything. It's from Ghost in the Machine. Did I ever tell you my tale about Ghost in the Machine, the album cover here?
no, it's like their faces aren't, and
They're
it's like they're
like digitally, like a
right.
digital watch or clock or whatever. When I was younger, when this record came out or whatever, or a couple years after, when I first saw this album cover, I thought that was like Chinese writing. I thought those were
Yeah,
like Chinese letters. And
yep,
and I mean, to the point where like I don't think I realized that that was them like digitally. Like I might not have known that until like the 2000s
yeah.
or
It was
something.
later when I heard about that too.
Yeah,
Like, oh
like
really?
I never like it's again, it's like one of those things like when I for the longest time I thought it was just some like maybe like these Chinese letters or something. And
Right.
then wherever, I don't know where I read that it's like them digitally, then you look at it and you're like, how the F did I not see that? Like, well, like of course it is. Like how on earth did I not see that?
That's
I always felt
1981. You wouldn't think anybody would do that back then, but maybe they're
yeah,
just
but I
being
always felt
creative.
stupid as hell, like, when the minute I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that I didn't realize that that's just them," it's not
I didn't know
Chinese
that
letters.
either until
Yeah.
maybe 10 years ago or something like
Oh,
that. So
really? Yeah, yeah, like I said, that's probably around when I realized it, but, yeah, every little thing she does is magic. I mean, like I said, probably the most, like, commercial of all the stuff that I picked, but again, out of all their, like, hits,
yep,
I
yep,
would probably say that is, for me, the best one. Like,
yeah,
just everything works on that completely. And I think it's the best, like, single hit song, whatever,
yeah.
that they ever created. That's the best one for
That's my
sure.
last one too. That's
Oh, is
also
it?
my last
Okay.
song too.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything she
alright.
does is every
Yeah,
little thing she does is magic.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
great
got like the piano. Everybody knows the piano.
yeah,
When they kind of go down the end of the keyboard, that part, and the guys are in like the studio recording the album, and kind of that's like them having like the most fun, kind of
yeah,
pushing each other out of the way and stuff like that. And then it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
when you
Yeah,
see
I
Stuart
remember the
Copeland in the
video
corner.
from the tape. Yeah, it was, yeah, that's just such a great tune, man. That's a great one. So, what do you have, or did you have, like, any honorable mentions or whatever?
Yeah.
Or do you have the you said you wanted to talk about Sting stuff,
Well, I'll mention my
or
honorables.
you have police honorable mentions, and then you said,
Yeah, yeah. I've
okay,
got some police honorables. I have like 5 Sting. I think I have 6
right.
from the police.
Holy
But
shit.
obviously the stuff from Synchronicity, Every Breath You Take, I still like that song, and it's got Andy Summers. He's doing this like chord compression progression that where he that song's more complicated than it may sound to people.
Right.
That it sounds really commercial pop kind of thing, but he's doing things there that's kind of difficult to play that on that song. That's why I still like it. King of Pain, Wrapped Around
Yeah,
Your Finger,
yeah,
uh, Murder by Numbers. I love that. Like I said, it wasn't on the original the vinyl, and they
right.
added it later on. Love that. Of course, Roxanne. I still love that. Even though that song's been played to death too. That was their first mega hit from
Yeah.
the first album, and then
I
of course,
go ahead.
and also can't stand losing you. I
I
still
was
like
just
that
gonna
from the
bring that
debut.
up. I like Peanuts as well.
Rock Peanuts,
Yeah,
yeah.
did I ever tell you my funny story about "Can't Stand Losing You"?
No,
Is, when I was a senior in high school, we had to write, like, a paper to, like, graduate, and I waited till, like, the last minute and we had to. I was supposed to read this book by Albert Camus called The Fall.
Mm.
I chose it. It wasn't like everybody was reading it. I chose this book because it was thin, and I was like, "Oh, there's
Yeah.
thin book, man." And I never read the book. I knew a a a small smidgen about an aspect of the book, which had to
Mhm.
do with a guy being drunk, walking home. He walks over a bridge. There's I think, a woman there at the bridge, kind of like looking down at the water. And he walks past her, and then he hears a splash, and he looks back, and she's gone.
Mm.
And he doesn't do anything to save her or whatever. So
Oh,
I thought that's what the whole book was about, like regret or guilt, guilt.
right.
And I never read the effing book. I think that's like maybe like a little synopsis on the back of the book or there's a little brief part about that. Or I read like the first couple pages, and I write this paper, man. I wish I still had it. I got like a D on it. Like the teacher, let me just pass you to get the hell out of here. But but
Yeah.
I quoted, because the "Can't Stand Losing You," there's a part in that song where it's
Yeah.
like, what's the line? Oh shoot, what's the line? I'm forgetting the lyric.
Blame me when you're dead or something like that. It's got
Yeah,
some.
yeah. "You'll be sorry when I'm dead, and all this
Right,
guilt will
right.
be on your head." I quoted that in my paper, man, thinking I was like cool as hell. And dude, it even gets even worse because it was right around when Creep Show Part 2 came out,
Yeah.
and I'd seen it, and there's that segment in there where the lady keeps hitting the hitchhiker,
Mhm. Right.
and she has all this guilt and all this stuff. And I'm talking like Albert Camus is like this heavyweight of literature, and I'm writing about his book using Police Lyrics and Creep Show 2, man. And I'm like, the teacher, there's no question she read my paper and was like, "This dude didn't read a page of this thing, man." But
Wow.
she was just like, maybe she felt bad for me, or maybe for creativity, she just was like, "Let me get this." And she was cool. She was a cool teacher. She was a fan of the Police, actually.
Oh, so
Um,
she
but
knew what this,
yeah,
that
yeah.
quote
But
was.
yeah, dudes. But "Can't Stand Losing You" is a great tune. I easily could have put that on my list as well, man.
That's another, like, kind of a reggae kinda
Yeah, yeah.
that whole thing. Did you have any other, Police before you do the Sting,
Nah, I mean, "Rehumanize Yourself's" really good.
okay.
Um, I don't know. We kind of covered all of them.
What were your Sting, honorable
I
mentions
mean,
of?
my favorite Sting solo tune. I mean, I got "Dream of the Blue Turtles" probably around when it came out, and I
Mhm.
liked this record. I
Yep.
remember liking all the hits were really good. Russians, "Love Is a
Yep.
Seventh Wave" was really good. Um, "Consider Me Gone," "Fortress Around Your Heart," they're all really good. I thought this was a really good album. Um, and then the live record I bought, and I really liked the live record. And like I said, that film about the live record, the documentary, is really good. And I bought the "Nothing Like the Sun" right immediately it came out. I couldn't
Mm.
wait for it. I picked this up right away, and I like a lot of the tunes on here. I thought this one was pretty good as well. My favorite tune, I think, is from this record, which is "Straight to My Heart."
Okay.
I think that's my favorite. It's kind of I'm not a musician, so I can't really describe it, but it's just got a lot going on, it seems. But I even liked his cover, the Jimi Hendrix cover he did on here, "Little Wing."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
We
thought that was really good.
Yeah, we were talking about Concrete Blonde not too long ago, and they have a reissue of, Bloodletting, and they do a cover of, Little
Of
Wing
"Little
on there
Wing"?
too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like their cover is great.
Yeah.
I love that song
I
from
don't think I've
Jimi
heard that.
Hendrix.
I didn't pick, and after "Nothing Like the Sun," like Soul Cages came out. I didn't buy this when it came out because
Yeah,
I feel like I just kind of was losing interest.
yeah.
What I heard from this, it wasn't anything special. I think "All This Time" was the first single, and it
Mhm.
was decent, but it didn't make me want to really go out and pick it up, and I never did. I
Mhm.
got this a couple years ago. I found it at like a Goodwill or something. I picked this up. I only got this pretty recently. The only other one that I did pick up
Yep.
was this. I again, I got this later. I didn't get it when it came out, but there's some good stuff on here. I like Fields of Gold.
Yep.
I saw him when I went to Letterman one time. He was the guest. It was him and Gary Shandling were the guests, and he played Fields of Gold. And I think that was the first time I'd ever heard it. That maybe is what made me go out and pick this up.
Hmm.
Um, but there's a couple of decent tunes on here. 7 Days. It's Probably Me was from Lethal Weapon. That's
Yep.
decent. Anyways, yeah. So that's it. My favorite tune by Sting, like I said, was Straight to My Heart from Nothing Like the Sun.
Well,
But I
so,
lost
so
complete interest. Like
yeah,
even after that, 10 Sumner's Tales is a decent
yeah,
record, but that was it. I mean, I
yeah.
I think a couple of years ago, I found in a Goodwill Brand New Day, and I got it for like 99 cents, and I brought it home, and I didn't like it at all. I got rid of it. I gave it away.
Is that the one with the desert plains or whatever that doesn't have a song with it?
I think so. Yeah, Brand New Day was a big single off of that.
Yeah,
But I think the one you're talking about, I think was on it. It was like Desert Rose or something like that.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
not. It
think I
wasn't
had.
a good record. It was boring as hell. It was just like a. So what
Yeah,
did you tell
I
me?
think I looked at that song, the one desert. I think I had it on this list, but I think some of my favorites so did you ever think that Sting, at that time, hoping Sting would stop his solo career and go back to the Police? Did you think that was ever a possibility that even
Nah,
in the '80s or '90s?
no. I do
No.
remember when the Dream of the Blue Turtles came out. Because I used to read Billboard back then,
Hmm.
and when the Dream of the Blue Turtles came out, I do remember thinking that he had done like that he had done solo stuff before that,
Yeah,
like or like oh, it's his debut solo record. Like I remember being like a little surprised by that because I thought that he had done that before, but I remember that. But I kind of wasn't really. That was around when I was kind of like really getting into music. Like I said, like
yeah,
that's 85. That's when I'm starting to read Billboard magazine and reading the Billboard charts and
yeah,
all that stuff. So I think I wasn't up to date on like what everybody's career had been. Like that's when I sort of start really kind of paying attention. So I do remember when Dream of the Blue Turtles came out, thinking that he had done that wasn't his first solo record. He had done that before. But no, I mean they seemed pretty clear that
yeah.
that 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 wasn't going to be a thing. That they just the time had passed, and they'd kind of moved on. And the further and further that was in the rearview mirror, then it was like, yeah, that'll never happen.
Well,
I mean,
I
even
know a
that
lot of I
reunion
know
was still a surprise.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are fans of the Police, and they hated his debut album. And
Yeah. Well, it's very different. It's nothing
yeah,
like the Police at
yeah,
all.
it's not heavy at all. But I like it though.
I mean,
I
that's
like
what like
Russians. It's probably my favorite
yeah.
song
I
from
mean, that's what it
that album.
sort of should be. I mean, because if it was just gonna be if Dream of the Blue Turtles sounded like the Police, then it's kinda like, well, what's the point, you know?
Yeah,
Like, you might as well
just
just do
replace
the
Andy
Police
Summers and
record.
Stuart Copeland with
Yeah.
another band, and still
Yeah,
Sting.
so I mean, I give them credit for doing something completely different.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a little nutty when you listen to those songs, especially at that time, the mid '80s. Like it didn't sound like anything that was in the top 40 at that time. You know what I mean? This is doesn't sound like anything that was on the radio at that time or whatever. So I mean, the
yeah,
fact that he turned it into like a hit album, I mean, that thing was at least like 4 hit songs off of this thing. I mean, that was
yeah.
also part of the '80s too, but
Right. I remember when I first started learning acoustic guitar that I learned Russians that has a kind of a Christmas kind of sound to it. And I love the
right,
lyrics to that
yeah,
song, the whole thing. And I like Englishman in New York. I think that's still a great. I love the lyrics of that song. I'm
yeah,
an Englishman in New York. I mean, that kind of has some statement nowadays. And then Shape of
yeah,
Your Heart. I was talking about Leon
right,
the Professional, and that song's at the end. I forgot that song's the last thing they play right when the credits roll at the end of that.
yeah.
I
I
remember
like
that.
Rock Steady too off of Nothing Like the Sun.
Yeah,
I gotta listen to these again. I haven't listened to these in a long time, man. I've been listening to these any of them, the Police or the Sting. I know you listen to the Police stuff to get ready for this, but I haven't listened to I haven't listened to Police records or Sting's records in a long time, man. It would be good to kind of sit down and just pop them in and listen to them, you know?
I don't listen to solo stuff as much, but I still like the
Yeah.
Police. I like
The
their
the first 2, I
energy,
think I could probably I feel
their
like the
solos.
first 2,
Right.
the second one, Nothing Like the Sun, I feel like I'd probably skip some stuff, but I feel like I could probably get through those. The other ones, I don't know. The Soul Cages, when I got this a few years ago, I know I listened to it and didn't really, it might have been like one other song on here that I thought was okay, but it really didn't do a whole lot for me, but I held on to it.
So
Yeah.
I was I meant to mention this earlier when I talked about Driven to Tears. This is what's really interesting about Andy Summers. He's not somebody that plays guitar solos very often, but in that song he does play this kind of, it's almost like a mockery of a guitar solo. It's kind of a really kind of strange how he plays that, and it's like okay, yeah, I could do a guitar solo. Here it is. This weird kind of, but that's the only time he really ever. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
really think of any of the Police songs where he really does like a solo, because he's an outstanding rhythm guitar player. And he's great. His chords, guitar chords, are outstanding. Like I said, his chord progressions are really great. But
I
he's
think
he's a
Driven
very
to
low key
Tears,
guitar
I
player.
I think that's the tune. They do 3 songs in Erg: A Music War in the film, but on the soundtrack, there's just 1 Police song, and I think it's Driven to Tears. That's what kicks
Mm.
off the film, though. That's Driven to Tears is what kicks off the film, and then the police show up at the end of the film. They return.
Do they play the whole song or just a
No, yeah, it's the whole
so,
song. Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
like I said, I can't really think of any other time when Andy Summers has really done a guitar solo, because
yeah.
they're a trio. It's not as easy to play guitar solos, but it's not his style though. He's not a solo guitar
I
player.
remember, like I said, like, when this came out, like, '86, when I was really, really getting into the Police, and I remember almost buying one of his solo records. I forget what it was called. It was like 3 letters or something.
Hmm.
But I don't think I knew anything from it, but I just was, like, really into the Police, and every time I'd go to the record store, like, looking through cassettes, they might have had it in the with the Police records, but, um but I'd always see it there, and I always kinda wanted to buy it out of curiosity, like, what it sounded like or whatever, but I never did, and I mean, his solo stuff he did on the Police albums, those are all the weird things. That's Mother and all this stuff that we were talking about.
Right,
So, like, I think I thought it was just gonna be, like, a little out there, you know?
right.
I'm trying to
Well,
see what real
we were talking earlier when I listened to Regatta de Blanc last night. The song that I was referring to that I couldn't think of while we were talking was Walking on the Moon.
oh,
That's where it
I
says
thought
it.
that was on your list.
It
Oh,
is on my list, but I was looking at I was like, does Andy Summers play keyboards on this song? And he
oh, okay.
does. I'm looking it up right now on Wikipedia. It shows Andy Summers on that song. It says guitar, keyboards, vocals, guitar synthesizer on Walking on the Moon. So that's what I was talking about last night. Like Sting is playing bass and singing, Stewart's on drums. So it must be Andy Summers on keyboards. And,
Keyboard, yeah.
a lot of, well,
The the Andy Summers cassette that I almost bought and kept eyeing up at the store was called XYZ.
okay.
I think it's his first solo record, but I just always remember seeing that, but I just always wondered what that was like, what that sounded like, because it's him on vocals, I think, and everything, but
Yeah, I need
yeah.
to watch. So when you saw the Police live, was Andy Summers playing keyboards at all, or did they have like?
I don't
Prob-
remember at all.
well, it's
Yeah.
probably like Van Halen. Van Halen, you remember back in the '80s? We've talked about this before, where Eddie and Michael Anthony are playing keyboards on the song
Yeah.
"I'll Wait," and then I watched it last night. There was I saw
Even
something.
before, I think Michael Anthony played good keyboards even before that, because
Yeah,
he used to have this, keyboard that was in like a bomb. It looked
yeah.
like a bomb or something that was on stage.
Well, I know
Um,
a lot of bands when they get
but
really
those
huge.
guys were like playing like they were both playing keyboards,
right on
which is
that back then,
weird.
like
Yeah,
nine
which was weird because
in
like,
like
what do you need
'83,
both?
they were.
Yeah, what do you need
But
both of
later
them?
on, when I saw Van Halen, later with Dave when he came back, Eddie's not
They
playing
just piping
keyboards at
it
all.
in. Yeah, they
They've
just
got somebody
piping it.
behind stage,
Yeah,
or
somebody's
they're
behind stage
listening
or
to a
they're
tape.
piping it in. Yeah,
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 either somebody's playing it live behind
yeah.
stage, or it's a tape, backup
I
tape.
always I always felt like something like that, they should have just, like, hired,
Yeah,
like, a touring keyboard player, you know? Just had
yeah.
the music,
What's
have it
interesting
be
though
just
is
like
because this is like a sound check. They said I saw it said it was like Eddie's one of his later, like the last sound check he ever did, and his son Wolfgang is playing. His Wolfgang is singing Dave's part on the song "I Wait, I'll Wait," and he's playing bass on that song. Where instead of playing keyboards, he's playing like the bass part, the
oh,
same
yeah.
kind of notes
He's
on bass.
playing the keyboard part on his
Yeah,
bass, you mean? Yeah.
he's
Mm,
playing bass and he's singing, and he sounds a lot like David Lee Roth, honestly. But
yeah,
that's probably why Wolfgang is a solo artist now, or able to
yeah,
have a band and sing himself. Because the guy's really talented, obviously, just like Eddie.
yeah,
So we'll get off on we'll talk about the police
yeah,
here, but
yeah.
but yeah, it's a
Well,
so
luckily, the Police, when they reunited, they didn't have, Sting's kid playing,
right.
guitar or whatever, you know?
His kid is a film director now. He did the song, did the movie Moon. I know he directed that movie.
Oh, yeah? I thought
Yeah,
for some reason he had a kid who was a musician. Maybe I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of Paul McCartney.
he might well because his son
Yeah,
doesn't go.
yeah, Duncan, isn't it like Duncan or something like that? Or
Is it Sumner?
Declan?
Yeah, he's got his name is Duncan, but
Yeah, 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 you're right. Yeah, I remember now. That's his kid, yeah.
yeah,
Moon
because he directed the movie Moon. I
with,
think he's done other movies too, but I was trying to look up his name, and yeah,
and his
it's
daughters and Sting, one of his daughters is an actress.
oh really?
She
Okay,
was in, I think she was in that movie Frances Ha with Greta Gerwig.
okay,
I think she was in that one. But yeah, one of his daughters is an actress. I mean, his wife, their mom, his wife. I mean, she was involved with film and everything for the longest time. So
well, I think I've told you about this, where I saw Sting. They used to play at CBGB's back in the late '70s. They were playing in that club,
yeah,
and Sting went back to New York, and that where that location is, which is it's like a clothing store
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
cleaned up and everything.
yeah.
He just went in there and said, "Yeah, we played here," and everybody talked about how filthy that
It
club
was.
was, and
I've been. Yeah, I was there. It was nasty as hell.
with
It
gum,
was.
people
Yeah.
stick their gum over
Oh,
the
there was
walls.
worse things than gum.
Yeah, I can
Gum
imagine
would
that
have
place
been.
would be
Yeah,
real safe, especially
gum.
nowadays. People are more germaphobes than they used to be.
Yeah, no, gum would be the last thing you'd be worried about
Yeah. What
stepping on there.
CBGB's closed, and was it like maybe 15 years ago or so, I
I
think?
don't even remember when that was. I mean, they did a whole bunch of shows, like, when it closed, a whole bunch of bands that had played there all like, they just went on a tear where a bunch of these bands were coming back and playing, there. They had, like, just this amazing lineup, for their last couple of shows or the last week or 2 or whatever, but, I think
Well,
I'm not positive, but I wanna say Patti Smith was the last one who played there.
okay.
Think, I might be wrong, but I for some reason, I feel like she was the last one who played there, but, which would
Yeah,
make sense, but,
it says
yeah,
October 15th, 2006 is the last time it was open,
yeah.
and, I mean, obviously, back then, a lot of people associate that club with punk, but, I mean, you had, Talking Heads and Blondie, a lot of bands that really weren't
Yeah,
punk, they
but I
were more
mean,
like
they weren't, but they were in that category. I mean,
new
people
wave, yeah,
people
like,
thought of the Talking Heads and Blondie as punk, or so to say, but, yeah, I mean,
kinda the next
television.
generation of punk, new
Yeah,
wave and pop, you
yeah.
know,
I mean, but
uh
I mean, the Blondie started and I think Talking Heads, their very first night playing was with the Ramones,
right,
like, I mean, they
opening up
both,
for
I
'em.
think, started, at the exact same night, but, Blondie was around then too, but you also had, like, television and Patti Smith and whoever, yeah, yeah, good scene, but,
Yeah. But yeah,
and,
this is fun, man. I'm glad we did
yeah,
this.
yeah, I'm glad we finally squeezed this in. We'll do another one on some other bands or whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
we talked about the Who and U2 and the
Yeah,
Clash. I'd be all for doing anything on those ten
yeah,
bands. There's a lot of bands that we have in common, just like the Police, and we did Van Halen.
Right.
first. Just anything that's we have in common. It's like
The Ramones would be a good one.
Ramones. Yeah, the Ramones would be that. I'd do that next for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
if you want to do that one next, we could definitely do that one.
yeah.
But
That'll be a
I
good
like the
one.
Ramones a lot, so
That'll be a tough one too.
probably even more than well, I
Well,
probably
there's
like
more
them
to
used to a
pick
little bit
from.
more.
There's more
Yeah, but
songs to choose,
I'm the
but
most excited about the Ramones because doing picking 10 good ones there. 10 songs I love about from them. That'd be a lot of fun to do that. Just
yeah,
to talk about them a little bit more.
yeah, it'll be tricky, but
But I'm
yeah,
glad that
that'll be fun.
you had a lot of deep cuts and stuff on this, which is great.
Yeah.
That means we didn't have a ton of
Yeah, and I mean,
crossover.
it's not even like by design, I'm not
Yeah,
like I'm not gonna pick any of the hits,
right.
but like a band like this, it's I mean, a lot of the songs, like when I finally got the albums, the cassettes and everything, and was listening to the whole cassette, I mean, there's tons of, they had tons of hits, but they had just as many like album tracks, that weren't played on the radio and stuff that are just as good, man, just as catchy, So,
Well, I
it
mean,
was
the pick the bed's too big without you. That was a single off of it, even though it wasn't a hit
oh yeah,
song.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it should be a hit song, but it never became a hit, even though it was released as a single.
right.
It's kind of interesting how that is. Record companies release a single; they don't do video for some of the songs that they release off of it. Maybe the album sales weren't as strong by the time they got to. That's a third
Yeah,
single
yeah, yeah.
released off of it. Maybe
I mean,
this,
that was like that was well, that's the 70s or whatever. Because like
yeah,
the 80s, around when after Thriller, it was like from then on, the 80s were all about, I mean, every album had 4, 5, 6 singles. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it wasn't, before that, I think maybe you'd get like 2 singles, maybe a third one. But after Thriller, everything was like, I mean, Synchronicity had what, 5 singles released from it.
yep,
Purple Rain, like almost the whole
mm,
album released as singles. Bruce Springsteen, Born in USA, every damn song was released as
yeah.
a
I've got
single
like
too.
7 or 8 singles on
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
Madonna, like a Virgin, probably like
yeah,
most of the album was released as singles. Like, I mean, that was the 80s, The Cars, Heartbeat City. I mean, that's
right.
10 songs, half of them were released as singles,
That's a great
And there
band
are other
too.
ones on there that could have easily been released as singles. They could have kept going, man. But yeah,
We can put the Cars on the list too.
yeah,
I'd
Cars
love
would
to
be a
go
good
into
one.
them.
Yeah, Cars
Uh,
would be a good one.
Especially some
But
of the earlier stuff.
yeah,
Really into them. I mean, it's like back in the day, somebody like Rodney Bingenheimer. We talk about him how in L.A. He would play these obscure songs from a band or some of the less pop. He'd make bands popular
yeah,
just by
yeah,
playing their stuff.
yeah.
You can't do that now. Now everything's so commercial and everything's so calculated, and you can't take a risk on
Well, nobody listens to the
so
radio really
you're
anymore
right.
either, I mean, they're not listening to the
Unfortunately, the
radio.
radio
Yeah,
still exists, but a lot of people
yeah.
don't listen to it anymore.
No, I
They
mean, they
listen to
don't listen
satellite
to it.
radio and stuff like that, or they listen
Yeah,
to their own
there
music.
aren't those people. I mean, even when I was growing up, I mean, we had those. I'm sure you did as well. I mean, there's certain people that we had. Matt Pinfield, you probably know him.
Right.
He was our local DJ here.
Wow.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's an
we
interesting.
used to go to shows. He'd jump on stage with the band. We'd see him at shows down at the Stone Pony and stuff
That's
like that.
interesting you mentioned him because I think he had like a major stroke
Yeah,
earlier
he's
this
doing
year. I
better
think
now, though. He's doing
he's
better
doing
now.
much better
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
thankfully. But he
But I
had a
mean,
stroke.
we had like Scott Muni in New York, and we had Carol Miller in New York, and we had all these people. We all knew, you knew them. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew these people, and but I don't think that exists anymore, really.
No,
I mean, there's some people who still might be kind of there, but I don't think people are familiar. Like I said, Matt Pinfield, we we all listened to him on the radio, and we'd see him out at the clubs and stuff. We
yeah.
all knew him, It'd be like, hey, Matty, and
He was like
whatever.
he was like a music reference that
He
they used on MTV. He did like
Well,
120
he
minutes.
left
Oh
the
yeah,
station, and then he went and he started doing MTV. He was on air on like 120 minutes.
yeah. And
Then
he
from
he was
there,
also like the music supervisor
well,
too.
he became an A&R guy. He
Right.
was signing bands and stuff for a
Yeah,
label.
he
I don't
has a
know what
great ear
label.
for music. Yeah, he did
Yeah,
120 minutes and all those kind of obscure alternative kind of bands
yeah.
back then, and like
Well, that's
the
what the
'80s.
station that he was a DJ on. here was called FM 1063. I did a whole video about it because that's what that station was. It was like it wasn't a college rock station, but that's what they played.
Okay.
So they played all these like alternative, all the replacements, et cetera, et cetera. They played. That's what they were playing. They were playing alternative, all those alternative bands and stuff like
Yep.
that. And that's what we were all listening to at the time, And
Yeah.
but like I said, there those people don't exist. I don't think really anymore. I mean, every city, I mean, where you are right now, I'm sure if you went out to your car, turned on the radio, there's there's a DJ on there playing the music or whatever. But those personalities don't connect anymore. Like, if you went to the bar right now and we're talking to some of your friends and said, "Hey, did you listen to, you know,
Mhm.
whoever, the DJ?" I bet most of the people wouldn't even like, "Who? What? I don't know who that is." They don't
Probably the
those, but
early '90s. Yeah.
back then those people were
Yep.
almost part of our lives, those
Right.
DJs, you know what I mean? You listen to them, and you listen to them every day and
Yep.
and you felt like you knew them and stuff, and but that I don't think that exists anymore really.
Yeah, I think that kind of went away around the mid '90s because I remember even early '90s, I was still, me and my friends would still listen to the new music on the
Yeah,
radio, and we would
yeah.
talk about it, and then it
Yeah,
might be
it
on
probably
MTV.
kinda went away like 2000 and
Yeah,
on. I mean, in the later '90s, when I lived out west, we had like Jed the Fish on
right.
K-Rock and stuff like that. So you knew there were some of those people, they were still kind of like there were still some of those personalities that people knew and stuff like that. But probably like in the 2000s or something, that's kind of started fading away. And like I said, now, I don't even listen to the radio. I mean,
I rarely
a
ever
little
do.
bit here and there,
Yeah. I listen to
but
more sports than I do music.
yeah, I
It's
mean, I
usually
just
AM
usually
or
just plug. I have stuff on my phone. I just plug. I don't stream, like I don't use Spotify or anything like that. But I have my music on my phone, and I just plug my phone in. I mean, it's the first thing I do when I get in the car. Plug it in and just put it on shuffle and just let
yeah,
I'm like my own DJ. But
yeah, yeah.
but
All
yeah, you
right.
know,
Well,
but yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I don't think there's that influence anymore. Where you're listening to DJs who are
yeah,
people you're
those aren't what they
sort of
used to be,
familiar with. Yeah, and
unfortunately.
they're not introducing you to new stuff, new bands, or anything like that.
You got to find it yourself
Yeah,
nowadays, and
yeah,
it's not easy to do.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But yeah, man. Well, yeah, it's cool. We'll do another one. Maybe Ramones be the next one.
I think the
That'd be
Ramones would be a great one to do next.
yeah,
So it's at some
be
point.
cool.
So, but yeah, Steve,
All
I
right.
really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Everybody
man.
watching this, please give us your top 10 in the comments. A lot of fun to do this. We love the
And let
police.
us know if you think Sting is a wanker.
I don't think Sting's a wanker. He
or
is a
or if you take Steve's side and you think
yeah. He's just a
he's
rock
just
star.
shy.
I
Yeah,
can't
he's
speak
just
to
shy. This is
I
we're
give him a
getting around
pass, man.
there are elections going on. This is the big
Oh,
vote.
yeah,
Is Sting a wanker or is he just shy?
yeah. I think
Let's
he's
see who
shy. Come
wins.
on, man.
Let's see who wins. But yeah,
But
man.
thanks,
No,
Steve. I
cool.
really appreciate it, man. I'm gonna
All right,
hit
man.
end stream, and you have a great one. And we'll definitely do the Ramones at some point before the end of the year for
All right,
sure.
man.
When we get a chance. But good luck.
Like,
Hopefully the weather holds up for you there in New Jersey, and good luck with that. And so thanks everybody. Have a great one. Hit end stream, and here we go. Thanks, Steve.